Hello, I'm Steven.
And I'm Aaron.
And we've just seen If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, new film that's out in theaters right now, starring Rose Byrne and Conan O'Brien, and it is directed by Mary Bronstein. So earlier this year, I watched this television series called Damages, co-starring this lady named Rose Byrne. Watched all 5 seasons. Later in the year, you and I watched 28 Weeks Later, which co-starred Rose Byrne. And then, one of my most anticipated films of the year ended up being this film, which stars Rose Byrne. So for me, 2025 has been the year of Rose Byrne. I didn't really know much about her before now. I guess I had seen her in a few things like X-Men, but upon watching these 3 projects, mostly Damages and this, not so much 28 Weeks Later because that movie sucked, I have a great appreciation for this actress because I thought this film was outstanding. I thought it was extremely powerful, kind of gut-wrenching, and her performance is absolutely stellar and, in my opinion, Oscar-worthy.
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be pretty criminal if this doesn't get any kind of recognition this year, and it's entirely possible that it won't just because it is like a smaller movie that doesn't seem to have had much publicity. But she really is like a powerhouse here, and she is, I don't want to say 90% of the reason to watch this because the script is really great too. Pretty much everything about this movie is great, but she delivers exactly what's needed for this to work. She's extremely good in this movie.
Yes, and of course, after this was over, I had to go and watch press for this, and I always forget she's Australian.
Oh, I had no idea.
So, in the movie, she plays Linda, a mother who is taking care of a sick child who is living off a feeding tube. She has a husband who is largely absent. He seems to be some kind of ship captain or marine who's off on some, business trip or something. And he's not exactly helpful. He mostly exists as a disembodied voice over the phone. Likewise, her sick child who lives off the feeding tube also mostly exists as a disembodied voice. You don't really see her face in the movie ever. It's always off screen, which I think is probably an interesting way to keep the drama focused on the mother, Linda, as a way of keeping you in her shoes and her point of view. So basically what the film is about is the stress and frustration that comes with motherhood, and Linda also has probably the worst job imaginable to be in this kind of position. She's a psychotherapist, so not only does she have to endure the never-ending geyser of drama that comes with being a mother in her position, but she also has to listen to and deal with and try to assist in the drama of her patients.
She's also currently living out of a hotel because kind of the catalyst to kickstart this whole movie is one day she comes home and finds that there's a leak in the ceiling of her bedroom, and then all of a sudden just a giant hole falls through and just floods the home. There's just water gushing everywhere.
Yeah, pipe burst, which tears a hole through her ceiling and floods the entire house, so she has to retreat into a hotel.
So there's really not much of like an actual story being told. It really is just a week in the life of this person, because the whole thing is she's trying to get her kid like on a proper diet and get her up to a proper weight. That way they can talk about potentially removing the tube or moving forward in a different way. And if things don't change, then they might do some alternative care that doesn't involve the mother so much. And she's not really down with that. She doesn't like the idea of not being the person to take care of this issue.
Her journey throughout this movie is just a never-ending barefoot walk across a bed of glass.
And so there's a little bit of a ticking clock element to the story, but it's not much of like, this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens because this happens, and then there's a proper conclusion. It's just like a week in this person's life.
Yeah, it's character-driven, not plot-driven.
Yeah.
And as she navigates this difficult task, she also makes a lot of wrong choices on how to dull the frustration and the pain that comes with doing this.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say because neither of us are parents, but certainly you can relate to the stress and frustration that she's undergoing that would cause her to make some of these horrible decisions.
Yeah, in simple terms, I don't think she's a great parent, and I don't think she's really a great person. But I also think that to just describe her one way would be kind of reductive, because every description you make of this character could be followed with the word but.
Yeah.
Like, she clearly cares about her child, but she makes bad, selfish decisions, but her frustration is warranted, but, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, They do a good job kind of riding the line between constantly questioning her as a character, but also being incredibly sympathetic towards her. Yeah, it's easy to see why she would make the decisions that she does make. It's kind of like letting your intrusive thoughts, letting those kind of take over. It's like, if I just did this thing, everything would be better, maybe. Or if maybe if I did this thing a different way. And also, like, the fact that she's a therapist, she kind of is like self-therapizing almost. She like explores all options that are available to her, no matter how dark and twisted.
Yeah, there's a parallel story between one of her patients who is also dealing with
Yeah.
issues with her daughter. And I think the advice that she's giving kind of mirrors her own situation.
Yeah, and it's funny because she has like an entirely separate set of instincts that kind of kick in when this patient of hers makes a very terrible decision. Suddenly she's questioning this person and their morality, but also like not really, because she kind of understands her position. Like I said, it's a really fine line to walk with the character, but the writing does such a great job of never making you dislike the character. You're always on her side and wanting to kind of root for her, even though you're constantly like, no, don't do that, don't do that.
Meanwhile, she's also seeking therapy from her co-worker, who is also a therapist, played by Conan O'Brien, who's actually quite good.
Yeah,
The thing that was interesting about that to me is, like, it's Conan O'Brien. Like, you know him for being a massive goofball, so whenever an actor like him is cast in a role like this, you're worried, is it going to be distracting? And no, it never is.
no, there's something about the way he plays it. It's almost like he doesn't want to be doing this job. Like, he's kind of on edge the entire time, but at the same time, it could just be this specific patient that he's seeing. He's just at his wit's end with this person. He doesn't know how to help them anymore.
Yeah, he's kind of a frustrating character to me. Like, I see him as a man who really values boundaries. He knows that there's a certain threshold you should not cross with your patient, and he does not want to be emotionally involved, but he's also way too stubborn to realize that he has already crossed that threshold long before the events of this movie even started.
Yeah, one of Rose Byrne's character's biggest moments in the movie, and it kind of plays into what you're talking about with Conan O'Brien's character, is there comes a point where she's just so fed up and doesn't know where to go or what to do, that she just straight up is looking for someone else to tell her, what do I do in this situation? I don't want to make a decision here. I just want you to tell me what to do. You're the therapist. You're supposed to be the one kind of helping me. Just help me make a decision. So make the decision for me. I don't want to do this anymore.
And he's not giving an inch.
No, he's doing his job.
On one hand, it's kind of admirable that he's adhering to the rules of being a therapist, but at the same time, it's like, she needs a friend right now.
Yeah. But that's also like something that Linda, Rose Byrne's character, is pretty bad at. There's a lot of other characters in the movie that pop up throughout, and she's just the worst at socializing or reading cues or, making small talk or just like communicating, period.
She's very blunt and makes several haunting admissions throughout the movie that we can't say, but...
Oh, yeah, once again, it's the intrusive thoughts and her kind of walking through all scenarios and not really meaning them 100%, but just almost like she's venting to herself. Just like I said, if I had made this decision instead, my life would be in a certain position now, or if I did this thing differently. And I think it also does, since the daughter character is so young, it very much explores the idea that nobody knows how to be a parent until eventually they kind of figure it out, and it just makes sense, or maybe it doesn't, and every day is just a never-ending struggle to do anything.
This has been compared to Uncut Gems. I've heard people
Yeah.
say that this is Uncut Gems for Mother, which I think is definitely a fair
Yeah,
comparison.
yeah.
It's just like a blood boiler of a film. I would also say that this is like Eraserhead for mothers.
I was just about to say, like, this is the closest I've seen anybody come in a while to being Lynchian. There's a lot of surrealist imagery and a lot of symbolism, especially with, like, the hole in the ceiling and the hole in the daughter's stomach that the feeding tube goes through. It's just this void where there's just nothing in there, and it feels like she's kind of being sucked into it. Like, not terribly complex as far as like kind of reading into what it's trying to say, but very good use of its imagery and like sound design, especially. Like, it's not a horror film, but it's kind of a horror film.
Yeah, this was more unsettling to me than a lot of horror movies I watch.
Especially some things you wouldn't expect. Like, it even gets into like body horror a little bit with some of the stuff that happens. It can't really say too much, but there's a moment like late in the movie that's like, if you got a weak stomach, it might make you squirm a little bit.
Yeah, I was cringing throughout that sequence.
There's jump scares and like big horror stingers with the music.
There is even a darkly humorous streak to it. There's a inspired scene involving a hamster.
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, the movie's also not afraid to be playful and just over the top and ridiculous. Yeah, that hamster thing was just perfectly dark. The supporting cast is really fun too. They're like he said, there's a lot of characters that she communicates with and comes in contact with throughout the movie.
Oh, and I won't say who it is, but her husband, who, like I said, is a disembodied voice for most of the movie. I had no idea who that voice was.
No.
But then when he showed up at the end, I was like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah. Haven't seen you in a while and not in very many great things, but there you are, and this is working. ASAP Rocky shows up as one of the patrons of the hotel. He's kind of an odd figure, too. You don't know which way to think about him. It seems like he's just trying to be a friend, then it seems like he's like this criminal guy, but he's also a very funny guy in the movie. Just the way he reads his lines and the way he delivers things. Totally surprised by his performance.
Regarding Conan O'Brien, like the one scene in the movie that I think was probably meant to be funny was a scene where Rose Byrne tries to get into his office. He will not let her in because he's with a patient, so she keeps trying to get her foot in the door, and they have what looks like a foot sword fight for a second.
There's also, I guess, what is he, the valet at the hospital. She's trying to get pulled up to the hospital and walk in to do the meetings and all that stuff and leave just in time so she doesn't have to pay for parking or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's constantly being hounded by this guy who's just doing his job, but that's a stressful thing to have to deal with every day.
It's also another example of her not handling the situation in the most ideal way and kind of making it worse for herself by her own bad judgment.
Yeah, and throughout the course of the movie, everything just kind of escalates and the tension just keeps getting ratcheted higher and higher. The work that's being done on her house doesn't seem to be progressing. If anything, the hole in her ceiling is getting worse and worse, kind of symbolizing how terrible her life is and how everything's just kind of spiraling out of control.
A little on the nose, but it's all right. If it works, it works.
It's fine. I didn't mind that at all. And it has one of those conclusions where it's not really a conclusion. It's just like the movie just sort of stops after, I don't know what you want to call it, a moment of clarity or coming to terms with a situation. Yeah, it's not really like a proper ending, but this is not really a movie that needs one or would even benefit from one, I don't think.
So what is your final number rating on a scale of 1 to 10?
I liked it a lot. It wasn't the movie I was expecting it to be. Real stressful movie to watch with like a kind of a horror tone. So that was a nice surprise. And Rose Byrne gives what I would say so far is the best leading lady performance of the year so far. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I liked it quite a lot.
Yeah, also agree. Very strong 9. I loved this movie. I think it's one of the best movies of the year. Rose Byrne gives the performance of the year. Conan O'Brien is quite good. It's unsettling. It's funny at times. It's frustrating to watch. It's intense. It's very uncomfortable, and I like it. I do not like experiencing these emotions in real life, but I do like watching them unravel on film.
Well, I mean, it's just kind of a cathartic for somebody to experience something that way and then being able to maybe not relate to the situation or the circumstances, but the emotion for sure.
It's kind of like why people go to see horror movies, like confronting fear and that kind of thing. Terrific movie. Loved it. Have no idea what that title means, though. So that's If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Definitely see it.